Welcome to the Over 40 Alpha Podcast with your host, Funk Roberts.
Hey, welcome to this episode of the Over 40 Alpha Podcast. I'm really excited today because if you're a man over 40 struggling with belly fat, I know where you are, but if you're struggling with belly fat, your energy levels are crashing after every meal and you feel like your body's kind of working against you, then this is going to be an amazing wake-up call because I'm going to be joined by transformation specialist Dimitri Giankoulas. He's also been on this podcast before, but he's going to break down what really happens when you eat sugar, eat processed foods, like simple carbs that don't serve you. We're going to dive into glucose, insulin, belly fat, testosterone, and connect those dots so you understand exactly what's happening to your body when you're doing that, so you can take control of what you put in your body instead of the food taking control of you. So let's give a big up and a shout out to Dimitri. Welcome, my brother. How are you?
Wicked, bro. Wicked.
Listen,
I did with the Funk Master.
Word. Okay, let's get started. Let's dive in. Let's talk about what happens to someone who eats processed foods. I heard you on a podcast earlier on this month, or late last month. I heard you on a podcast, and you talked about that morning, drive to the coffee shop and you're getting, like the sugar or processed foods. Talk about what's happening to the body when you do something like that.
So first, let's break it down by telling people that there's a proper way for us to be eating food and a non-proper way. And the body understands one thing. When it gets glucose, it needs to either use it or store it. And the problem today is we're programming our bodies to become fatter on autopilot. And people need to understand, I do my coaching based on somatotype approach. So whether you're an ectomorphic person, tall, fast metabolism, skinny body, hard to gain weight like myself, someone who's in the middle, who's got a mesomorphic build, they're muscular, they got small joints, usually V-tapered body, but they gain, they lose weight. They may say, I've been training for 20 years and I can gain 5 pounds in 3 days, and I can lose 5 pounds in 3 days. Then you also have an endomorphic person, which got slow metabolism, wide ankles, wide wrists, stocky build, and you can just tell when you look at people, if you were to walk into the street today and you look at 100 people, we all look different. So now the problem that I feel is people don't understand glucose and what it does to your body. So our body has a regulator, okay? And our pancreas needs to make sure that we're not over glucosed, we're not under glucosed. So when people are eating processed food, they're taking their body's insulin production and they're putting in overdrive. And to give you a little scenario to kind of understand it, let's say the person is overweight by 40, 50 pounds. Okay, they didn't just get overweight overnight. It's a process, and their body, their habits, their lifestyle, their food choices, the mindset they have all play into this. So for example, you think of a regular dude, we'll call him Joe. Joe wakes up in the morning, he works in the trades, he goes to Tim Hortons, he gets a bagel with butter and a double-double. Nothing crazy, just a bagel with butter and a double-double. His body, since he's been sleeping, is fasting. So his blood glucose level is low. And our body's got to regulate to either keep us alive or not. So Buddy eats the bagel, he drinks the coffee with double-double, and automatically that glucose that is in the fuel is going to break down to the bloodstream, and it's going to fill in the bloodstream. So now his pancreas and his brain is going to recognize that, hey, you know what? This guy isn't active. He just came out of bed, out of a 6-7 hour sleep. And now we got a bagel, which has probably got, let's say, 40, 50 grams of carb. Plus he's got 2 or 3 sugars in there. He's probably at about 60, 70 grams of sugar for the first meal. So now the glucose is high. So the brain goes, hey, you know what? Pancreas, you got to go to work and help out. Pancreas is like a Spartan soldier. It says, okay, I got one job. I'm going to go into the glucose and think of a police car, think of a police officer. It's literally going to pick up glucose. Okay, I'm picking up objects on my desk, and it's literally going to divert it out of the cell. Because we need to make sure that if it stays in the bloodstream, the person, A, is going to be type 2 diabetic, 2, can have issues with their eyes and the tiny little blood vessels, 3, circulation problems with their toes going back up to the head. Circulation in general is going to be poor, and then obviously we're storing body fat. So what ends up happening is the glucose gets diverted out. And then you have 3 sources of storage. We got muscle, liver, and fat. Okay. Now, this Joe guy hasn't been training for years. So the body says, okay, I got this glucose. Who am I going to give it to? The first source of energy is the muscle. The muscle goes, I don't need it. I'm up to here since yesterday. He pounded back beers. He pounded back some pizza at nighttime. This guy has one meal a day. We're good. We don't need it. Okay? Body goes, no problem. I'm going to bypass you. Who's the next source of storage? Well, you got liver. The liver is not supposed to be taking in excess glucose. It'll hold glycogen. It'll take excess glucose, it'll store it into glycogen because it needs it for emergency style energy. So let's think of fight or flight syndrome. If you got kidnapped and you're in someone's home for 2 days without eating, you could eat nothing for 2 days, maybe drink no water, but the brain, the body's so beautiful that it will say, hey, liver, dump in some glucose back into the bloodstream so funk can stay alive. To the certain point where you don't got any, and now your body's going to be in an unhealthy state. But after polluting your liver, and this is the number one reason why men who don't drink alcohol have a high fatty liver, is because of that bypassing storage and stuffing it with glucose. Now, the more you keep doing that, you're going to get fatty liver and cirrhosis of the liver. And once you're in stage 2, it's not reversible. So, worst thing you could do. Now, after a while, the body goes, again, I can't take no more glucose, bro. Next source is body fat tissue. And this is where the body says, hey, man, I will store this puppy right here for you. And you know what, Funk? Since you've been calling me on autopilot day after day, and since you're spiking blood sugars in the morning, and then I'm going to take that glucose and I'm going to store it away as fat, boom, your energy crashes, your mood crashes, your the way you perform is going to be different because you went from this good amount of energy to crashing right away. It's also going to affect later on the day, I would say probably 8-9 hours, where at nighttime you start getting these binging signals because you're like, why do I want pizza? Why do I want cookies? Why do I want ice cream? Because of that crash, then back up and down. Now, if you look at fat cells can expand and can accumulate and can multiply like crazy. That's why we don't have a bunch of people who are built like monsters on the world, because muscle can only get to a certain level. Me and you are natural guys. 195 pounds, you know, I'm not sure how much you weigh.
185, 5'11".
You know, we're low in body fat. I'm sure you're like under 10.
Not yet. I'm about 11 or 12.
So we're both in the same thing, 10, 11,
12.
And to get bigger, we need to either take performance-enhancing drugs, which we don't believe in, or we got to really change our routine. So fat cells will accumulate double, triple in size. Now, this process, when I talk about autopilot, this process, once it clicks in at 6 in the morning, and then your body crashes, pulls out sugar, and then you don't eat till lunchtime or maybe 2 o'clock, and then what do? Coffee truck comes by, you go for lunch, you get a burger, and you get fries. Dumbest combo. Just alone from the French fries being fried with all that fat, which can affect your blood lipid level now, which is another concern, you still got carbohydrates. So your body is getting, again, blood sugar rising up to the ceiling, producing insulin, pick up the blood glucose, store to one guy, skip the S guy, go to fat.
Yeah.
Well, what ends up happening is, after 1, 2, 3 weeks of this happening, your body goes, Funk, don't worry. Every time you eat a meal now, I know what you want me to do. You want me to get fat. And now the cycle continues. And when you keep on producing insulin, your body becomes insulin resistant. Okay?
Right.
We need insulin to live. My wife's a type 1 diabetic. So when people come to me and they say, I'm type 2 diabetic, I don't feel any shame for you. Sorry to the viewers. I love everyone. But my wife had our daughter, Milena, and during that process of being pregnant, hormones going up and down, she's a very petite girl. She gained weight during the pregnancy naturally. Her body either attacked the pancreas, which is an autoimmune disease, type 1, or because of the fact that it was such a high level of weight gain during her first pregnancy, the body goes, we're not going to produce enough. So now, if you're type 2 and your body's producing a little bit of insulin and you keep eating, that sugar is going to stay in your bloodstream. So instead of having fluid, like a bottle of water, fluid of water, it's mushy, it's full of sugar, and it's not healthy for you. So it's just going to be an ongoing process, which eventually is going to affect you, put you in type 2 state. It's going to give you all kinds of issues when it comes to trying to lose fat. And what you're typically doing is you're programming your body to get fatter with age.
Right?
And we all know that with age, most people don't train as much, they don't move as much, and they eat more. They're more stressed out. So it's a bad, vicious cycle.
Okay.
Overloading your body, which is not healthy.
Yeah, no, that was amazing, and I appreciate that breakdown. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions to kind of backtrack a little bit so people understand what are the certain things that you're speaking about. I love the fact that you broke it down into when you're eating food, and this probably happens to all food. When you're eating food, it's like not all food, but you're eating food, muscle, a liver or fat cells, right? So you want to make sure that you're feeding the muscles, you're giving the liver and the body what it needs, and very little to the fat cells, if not some, depending on what you're about to do or what you're doing throughout the day. Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So if you're going to work out or what have you, and you want to eat 2, 3 hours before you work out, knowing that you're going to use those carbs for sure. But let's go back to glucose. Let people understand what glucose actually is and why we actually need it. Can you break that down a little bit on like what it is and why
Well,
we need it?
without glucose, our main energy cell, our cells would die. Like everything needs to have some form of glucose.
Okay.
Muscles are going to require it, right? We need it for energy. The mitochondria, cellular, just when you get down to the cellular aspect of glucose. And you got to remember that not all foods are created equal.
No.
So when people hear carbs or glucose or sugar, when I meet people and they say, "Oh, I'm on a health fit. What's going on? I cut out sugar, I cut out carbs." I'm like, now you're being a fool because now all you're going to do is constantly be in a low blood sugar state. Okay. So now your body's like, okay, you're feeding me chicken and salad. You're putting me in this keto state. I'm going to use fat as an energy source, but we're not being normal humans. So then when you eat an apple at a certain time of the day, boom, you get blood sugar spikes. If you constantly train your body to not have glucose, your body will react to it. Now,
Yeah.
if we're going to balance it out, and we're training, we're giving ourselves, if you switch from starchy carbs to fibrous fruits and vegetables, wicked trip. So if you said, you know what, I want to lose weight, what am I going to do? Well, don't have the refined, because carbs are broken down into glucose where you have refined sugars, which are going to be processed things, packaged foods,
Yeah.
Gatorade drinks, muffins, all
Simple
the Polish
carbs.
sugar garbage. Then you have starchy carbs, which again are a beautiful source of carb.
Yeah,
I see
complex.
you always posting rice and peas and
100%.
chickpeas, healthy foods. And then we also have the fibers, which I call them the best twins, fruit and vegetables.
Yeah.
But the problem is here's the issue. People are eating the wrong amount of food, the wrong time of day, and the wrong type. And those are the three bases that even Dr. John Berardi speaks about with precision nutrition,
Yeah.
right? So we got to understand if we're going to be having glucose into the body,
Yeah.
one, are we eating normal, natural glucose? Are we eating a fruit? Or are we eating a packaged little muffin that's in a container that's easy to go, that comes in a box, that the busy man is just going to coffee, packaged, done.
Right. Right.
So you also got to look at breakdown and digestion of fuel too, because if someone's going to be eating an apple versus that candy or that wrapped food, that apple needs to be broken down, metabolized, digested, taking the glucose. Now, because of the fiber in that apple, because you got to bite in, that's why when I tell people if you're going to be eating fruit, eat fruit with skin on it, right? Apples, pear, plum, grapes. You want to get fruit that's going to be higher fiber because that's going to slow down the rate of the glucose getting into the bloodstream. Another thing is if you're going to have an apple for breakfast one day versus an apple, some protein powder, and a little bit of peanut butter, now you're mixing all three macros together. And with nutrition, I always suggest that people blend the macros together because we become macronutrient deficient. And this is why so many diets out there fail because they remove carb. And I tell people, going based on body type, I know I'm a highly ectomorphic male, fast metabolism. So I know that I need carbs that are going to give me a little bit more energy. So that's why for customizing and people want to lose weight and they want to dummy it down, they just got to recognize if you're going to be eating carbohydrates, one, if you got 20, 30, 40 pounds to lose, you don't need it for breakfast. You do not need carbs for breakfast because again, you're waking up first thing in the morning and you're saying, should I have 2 slices of bread with an egg omelet? Well, the body's going to go, okay, thanks for the glucose. What are we doing with it? It's going to say, anybody want it? Muscle, you want it? Oh, you're full? Okay. Anyone else want it? No? Well, he's just pouring gas. He's pouring $50 gas into a $90 full tank. He's got 10 bucks left for tank. He's just spilling. So the body is so beautiful. It says, you know what? Instead of spilling over, let's store this, right?
Okay.
So we got to be very careful because glucose is the easiest drug we can buy. I can send my son into a store to buy any chocolate bars he wants, but he can't go into Shoppers Drug Mart and buy prescription medicine, right?
Right. So it's
So
easy to get
glucose is
sugars,
the gateway.
processed foods, sugars, those types. That's what you're talking about, right? Packaged
Yeah,
food,
man,
processed food,
packaged
sugars.
foods.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. You
Oh,
go
for
to a
sure.
gas station to put gas to go pay, you're bombarded with all this. They don't have a thing of apples on the side or bananas on the side. But again, it goes down to digestion as well. When people are not able to digest carbs and then they start adding them together, they have like, the bagel, then they have the little donut on the side, and they have the double, double, triple, double. That one breakfast destroyed you for the whole day now. Even if you watched Funk's videos and you did 3 hours of training, you're still in excess of glucose.
Totally. Yeah. So okay. So we know what glucose is. We need it. We need it for energy. I'm a little bit different with the carbs in the morning. I do tell my guys to eat carbs in the morning, but it's complex carbs. Usually it's steel cut oats or cream of wheat. But again, there's different ways. But the way you broke it down, in like you got to do this and you got to eat this and you got to eat for a day, a time of day. That I find that generally pushes people away because it is very like complex to have to try to
It's
eat
regimented,
specifically.
brother.
So you're saying that a guy, if he's 40, 50, 60, and he wants to lose that weight, the nutrition portion has to be like regimented in the timing because like, let's say, everybody's different, right? So let's say one guy, he's got the business that he goes to work and then he's got to pick up his daughter and then take her to ballet and then he's got to come home and then he's got to try to get a workout in. And then the next day he's got some meeting to go to and his day's kind of different, but trying to get that regimented eating. What do you suggest to get that regimented eating? Is it like meal prepping, meal planning, that sort of thing?
Well, meal prepping is by far, I believe, the best hack for longevity. We want to talk about healthy lifestyle. We want to have the businessman be able to enjoy his business, enjoy his schedule, but also be able to enjoy life too. And the problem with people is we're too much on the go. We always just think of when I need to eat, I'll eat it. Well, guess what? When you're on the Zoom to the next Zoom to the next one, you ain't going to have food. So my thing is, when I talk about timing, again, if I'm looking at a skinny guy who wants to get big, if he's eating his first meal at 7 a.m. and then he's eating his next meal at like 2, 3 in the afternoon because he had a busy day, well, guess what, bro? Your metabolic rate is way higher than someone else. You're actively moving around. I remember when I was in college, I was training at lunchtime, I was swimming in the morning. After school, I was taking a bus to go to my other job. So if you're constantly moving and burning calories, again, based on somatotype, you're going to burn muscle. You're not going to be able to gain weight. So if we can just try to think of
What about the guy who wants to lose weight? Because that's what
Bravo.
we're really talking
So
about.
for that guy who wants to lose weight, who's 55 pounds overweight, he's got two options in the morning. One option is can you wake up and do a morning workout to get the body going, to get the metabolism going, so your body can start utilizing fat as an energy source. Because if you don't give it carbs first thing in the morning, it goes, where's my energy? Okay, it goes
Right.
carbs, it goes fats and protein. And protein's always the last one to go, right?
Totally.
But if he eats an omelet with tomatoes and a few olives, there's no carbohydrate in there. The tomatoes are going to have very little. He can enjoy a meal now, not feel guilty, not spike blood glucose. His body's going to say, you gave me some feta cheese, you gave me some olive oil, you gave me some olives. I got energy from fat because fat source is diesel energy. It's not like gasoline. Carbs are gasoline, in and out, up and down. And if he has the protein, he can suffice himself, or he can say to himself, you know what? I'm going to try fasting till 11 o'clock, and I'm going to have my first meal, which may be some rice, some chicken breast, whatever it is, and base it out. But if they don't tell themselves, I got to start thinking like an elite man, there's got to be minimum 2 or 3 meals a day. You got to have something in the morning. The most important carb that I tell people to have is midday lunch. So if the guys are like, I want to have some pizza, I want to have some pasta, man, I want to have a sandwich, okay, go ahead, have it at lunchtime or pre and post workout. That's some of the best times. And if you're like, well, my workout's at 7 o'clock at night, no problem. If you do a hardcore workout at 7 o'clock at night and you time your carbs out properly, you can remove from the first meal, you can add it for lunchtime, you can add a little bit of a protein shake, or you can have like a Greek yogurt with some fruit and some nuts around 3. By the time you finish work, get to the gym, you're still utilizing that energy that you had from lunch and that fruit at 6 for your workout. Now when you're done, you go home, your wife's made you a nice meal, she made fajitas, eat 2 fajitas, enjoy the carb. But when there's no workout at nighttime and you're coming home and it's 7 o'clock at night and you're tired and you're hungry, I get it. You want to have carbs, but then we go back to science. You're dumping glucose into the bloodstream. And I'm not talking when people are going to be having a little bit of carb. I'm talking, I don't got my measuring cups with me, but
No
people
worries.
will smash 2 cups of rice with a meal.
Wow.
A cup of rice is going to be around 50 grams of carb. That's 100 grams of carb. Where's that going to go, Funk? Again, same process. Blood sugar raises. Brain, pancreas, send the police. Pick up the glucose, store it.
Okay.
So now if you eat a big-ass meal of 100 grams of carb at nighttime, and then that's 7, 8 o'clock at night, you're not moving, that's storing hardcore in your body as fat. Next morning when you wake up, you do not need carbs anymore. Fast. Go till noon without eating. Or drink a little protein shake. Have a protein shake and have 5 almonds. You don't need the carb because you got carb last night. And the vicious cycle continues. And the reason why I tell guys is if you're not timing your meals and the food type is not there, if you miss that lunch, which is so crucial, because so many people are like, oh, you know what? I just have my first meal, then I'm busy all day, and then I eat a lot at night. Well, you're eating a lot at night not because you're hungrier, it's because your blood glucose level was low. And now your body's trying to make up for that starved energy, that low blood sugar time. And now you get cravings that you typically wouldn't want to have because you just want to eat. And I've tracked this out many times where I'll miss my 6 o'clock meal at the gym. I'll go home for dinner 8 or 9. I'll eat my rice, my chicken, my salad, and then an hour later I want to look at cookies, and then I'm like, damn it, I'm still hungry. Why? Well, I took a long period of time. So I would rather people understand what carbs are, understand the macronutrient mix, and try to look at being simple of timing it out, using your hand, man. This is a cup of carb for me. Boom. So if I'm going to go to a restaurant at lunchtime and I want to have some rice, I don't want to look like someone who's having a chicken and salad and water. Okay, can I get a steak with potato and a salad? You look at the potato, you look at your fist, you say, you know what, 3/4 of my fist, there's my 3/4, I'm going to have that. But anything more than that, especially if you're not working out, if you have half a potato, you're fine. Full potato at lunchtime, you haven't worked out in 2 years, that's going to storage.
Sure. Okay, so we got the carbs and kind of limiting your carbs to just around your workouts. Now let's go into, now you talked about the 3 body parts, and I just wanted to kind of, it's ectomorph, endomorph, and mesomorph,
Yeah,
right?
ecto, meso, endo, and I'm very passionate about this.
Okay.
I've been knocked funk for years by people for this, but again, my thing is this: go in public today, look at the street, look at 15 people walk by you. They do not all look like me and you.
I'm going to challenge that actually
Let's
in
do
a
it.
positive way. So
Let's do
the endomorph is what? What is the endomorphic body?
The endomorphic body type is typically, let's say the guy's between, I don't know, he's 5'2", 5'7", wide wrists, wide ankles, slow metabolism, stocky frame, thick neck, thick shoulders, very wide from a side profile.
So bigger person.
Bigger person. Now, it does not mean they can't lose body fat.
No, it's
It just means structurally
Yep.
they're bigger bone. They have more muscle tissue. And due to the fact that their carbohydrate tolerance isn't the same as an ectomorphic person, when they eat a slice of bread compared to me, it doesn't get broken down as fast.
Sure. So let's talk about the ectomorph. What's an ectomorph?
Ectomorph is exactly a basketball player, a swimmer, a soccer athlete.
Skinny.
All skinny, small wrist, typically lankier body, the long limbs. Now, those guys always have a faster metabolism because their carbohydrate tolerance is much, much higher. They can eat 3 slices of bread for breakfast and still be hungry in 3 hours.
Not many of those men over 40 are in the world right now.
Yes,
but
100%.
Now we're going to move to mesomorph.
Well, we have skinny fat. We have a lot of guys who are skinny fat who are over 40. They look thin, but you touch them, you're like, bro, you're all soft.
Not many though. Okay, mesomorph.
Mesomorphic individuals in the middle, you typically will see small joints, ankles, wider shoulder, narrow waist. Even with women, they look a little bit more muscular. Even if they're slightly overweight, you can see they have a muscular build, and they typically can pack on muscle very quickly.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about, this is my observation. over the last probably 7 years. Okay, over the last 7 years, let me go back. When you and I were in high school, okay, I want you to remember your high school pictures. I want you to remember there was a picture that was posted in social media of a beach back in like the 40s and 50s,
Oh yeah.
right? But I want you to everyone
much-
was leaner and skinny. But I want you to remember your class picture or even your school. How many obese kids were in your school? For me,
very little, bro. Compared
there was
to
like
we
there
were
was
all
like
athletic.
two people. There was two. We remember the two people in our school that were obese. We didn't make fun of it, but we remember because it was something that was so out of place, right? Like it was very out of place. Now I'm gonna fast forward, and even like that picture of the beach where everyone's skinny. So back in the 80s and 70s and probably the 90s where things started to change, people were more skinnier, more leaner than they are today.
I think food quality.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
back then.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. But today, if when I go out and I look at people, I'm finding most men
right.
are endomorphs, right? But they may not be endomorphs, but
Right.
because of the way that their body has changed, the way they've eaten, or whatever it is. I'm not going up against them. I'm not,
They've gained
downing
weight,
them.
brother. You're actually right.
But
People can be mesomorphic and just gain so much weight to appear that way.
So here's the thing: when what I'm finding is, because I had a conversation on one of my coaching calls about this endomorph, ectomorph, mesomorph thing, and everyone that was newer were putting themselves in the endomorph
Yes.
bucket because they feel like, well, I'm an endomorph, I've got big bones, I've got this, that, where in fact a lot of them may not be endomorphs, and I see it in the transformations. All of a sudden this big boned guy is now a mesomorph. Hey, you're lean, you're ripped, you're shredded. And sometimes a lot of people hold on to that endomorphic, big boned. They held on to that
Story they tell
identity.
themselves.
So that they don't have to. Again, I'm not downing anybody. I know it's very difficult to lose weight and build muscle. I understand, but sometimes they hold on to that identity as to, well, I can't get smaller. I can't build muscle because I'm an endomorph. I'm big bone. It's in my family. Well, it's probably in your family because it's been a lifelong thing of eating unhealthy and that sort of thing. So what are your thoughts? Like, I love the fact that you have endomorph, ectomorph, mesomorph, because I think
I
that's
support what you're saying,
right?
totally.
But
And-
I look
and-
outside and every guy, like literally, it's like the same. It's like, Jesus, man. Like, why do
Well,
it's
look
like
at
3 or
what's
4
going-
different body types now as opposed to 100 different body types?
And as well, what you're saying is, and some people even mentioned to me exactly what you said and say, hey, well, you know what? If you look at people today, they all look really big.
Totally.
I tell people this, that you're going to gain weight over time. It's going to compound. And the choices you make are going to take that way. But if you go to a beach nowadays and you look at men, or just in general, a lot of, like, almost 80% of men, when I go out in public, look mini pregnant. From the backside, they look fine. From the front, they have these little pouches of body fat. And that's visceral tissue, right? And visceral tissue, from, again, the fastest way to get high visceral fat tissue in the midsection area is to constantly be spiking blood sugar and having the body store.
Yeah.
Also, high cortisol in the midsection will do that as well.
Sure.
But when I classify people and I try to give them that breakdown, I do it in the fact of, one, it all comes down to caloric deficit, caloric surplus. One. That's one of the big ones. Number two, your movement quality, your training level, how many calories you burn per day. Three, your mindset. So those are 3 barriers that'll never change. My thing is just saying, when I meet someone, I talk to them, tell me about your childhood. Oh, when I was a child, I was very overweight. Okay, how much overweight? Da, da, da. In the last 10 years, how much weight have you gained? If they're like, you know what, I've been the same weight since I was in high school, okay, you have endomorphic qualities. Now, the reason why I tell them that is because I want to remind them that when we're not in the gym together and you're not following my program or you're not around, I need that little voice in your head to say, hey, Dimitri told me that my metabolism is a little slower than the next dude, and I got to move. So instead of just training 3 days a week, because I think 3 is good, I'm going to move 3 more days per week and make it 6.
Okay.
So that way they can kind of have a reminder for the person that wants to gain weight because they're very petite and skinny. I need to remind them, bro, you need to be lifting heavy weight always. You need to be carrying food with you on a regular basis. You need to be taking a day off in between to rest and heal, because if not, you're playing soccer one day, bodybuilding the next day, soccer, lifting, you're going to shrink. So that's where my somatotype approach comes in.
Sure.
Then we customize it based on lifestyle. But when you're saying people nowadays compared to 20 years ago, it's because the food we're eating is so fake. Not too many people know how to cook, bro. I meet so many couples, and the wife is either like, well, I don't cook, he cooks. And then he's like, well, sometimes, the guys don't even know how to cook themselves, or they're ordering food, they're buying processed things, they're not moving enough.
Yeah.
A lot of kids, their parents don't move, so they don't move.
Yeah.
They're all sedentary. They're all Netflix binging.
Yeah.
You open up their containers and there's full of, popcorns and this. So people can easily make choices that are ready to go versus cutting a salad. It's going to take some time to cut the salad, or open up a packaged meal and go, boom.
Yeah, and I think to defend these people, I know that they want to do well. Like, it's not something that they are, consciously doing. Like, they want to know. They know that when they're eating those bad things, that it's probably destroying their body. But it's very difficult for them because there's so much information out there for them to understand. Okay, what should I do? How can I do this? And not try to go from 0 to 100, but like 0 to 1, and then to 2, then to 3. But let's talk about cutting sugar, because you hear about cutting sugar. You talked about that, right? Sugar. What are some of the hidden sugars that guys are eating that they probably don't even know are sugars?
Well, they're the liquid sugars, man.
Okay, so what would that be in? What's
Liquid sugars in the foods they're drinking. So they're getting coffees.
Yeah.
They're getting all these, especially like the Starbucks brand coffees that are very, very high sugar.
Yeah.
They're getting protein drinks that have excess sugar in them.
Okay.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
Gin and tonic.
Yeah. What about sodas and juices?
Like, those are even beyond it. Like, people think having an apple juice is healthy, even for their kids. No, give the kid an apple. Worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
And then also in the foods they're eating, they're not recognizing that when you look at a food, like a label, turn it around and it can say low fat, 0 fat, made no added sugars, but it's got 15 grams. So it's got 15 grams of sugar, and it's a small container, right? Yeah. Also, people got to recognize that when they're drinking alcohol, they may be having 2, 3, 4 drinks in a row. And if any one of those drinks have glucose in it, again, you're just adding additional glucose. Yeah. But I think the biggest challenge is, you mentioned a few seconds ago that people don't purposely want to do it. So I get it. They're not maliciously trying to say, I want to be overweight, I want to be obese. Yeah. But there's a scale, like in math class. There's 0 and positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then there's negative 1, 2, 3. When you fall behind the wheel and you're at negative 20, to get to 0 is a lot of work just to get to 0 neutral, Funk.
Sure.
And you need either a coach, you need a mentor, you need a plan, you need an action item. So the challenge is they keep going negative 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, boom, and they go back.
Right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bang, a bad wedding. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. They finally made it, and now they're like, man, I worked so hard for 2 months. Yeah. I'm going to go enjoy it. They go back again. So it's that compound effect of never getting to the point, where in reality, I tell people, stop cutting out sugar. Cutting out carbs is the dumbest thing to do. Eat healthy carbs. Eat real. If you want to drink an orange juice, eat an orange.
Right. Okay.
They're buying watermelon juice because it tastes good for dinner, but they're forgetting that on their plate, they got a cup of rice. They got chicken breast that's been breaded. So you got the breaded from the chicken breast, right? You got the rice from there. Then they're drinking a glass of watermelon juice. You're overloading your body.
Sure. Yeah, and that's so. Yeah, like those sugars specifically, I find that like guys will be like, oh, I'm gonna put sauce on my like steak, right? Or I'm gonna put salad dressing, and I always tell them, hey, guys, you know how much sugar is in that stuff, and they're like, what do you mean? There's no sugar in it. So it's just, I think it's also about them understanding, like, hey, listen, did you know that there's tons of sugars in salad dressing? So instead of having the salad dressing, have olive oil. That's what I do. I put olive oil on all of my salads, on all of my. I put olive oil on pretty much everything.
And they buy these made dressings that have, trans fats in them. They're not healthy for you.
No.
And again, they're not recognizing that all you have to do is, we got to learn new skill sets. I spoke to you about, podcasting and how to set up. I got to learn a new skill set to perfect it. So people have to learn to read a food label, to understand when they see the end of the food label and it says, the first ingredient, the first two ingredients is sugar, then it's got the highest amount of ingredient in there. But if sugar's like the second last item, it's going to have the less amount.
Sure. So I guess, and that's also, again, I find that that's also a barrier. Like, one of the things that I understand with people, specifically nowadays, first and foremost, it is not your fault that you didn't know that there was sugar in salad dressings or in a lot of the foods you're eating, because the marketing is so powerful, and the way that they present it, it's so powerful that you just wouldn't even know.
They pay food scientists.
It says no fat, it says this, it says that, but in general, it's hidden in there. So you're still thinking, oh, I'm drinking a 0-calorie cola. It's like, yeah, but there's a whole bunch of sucralose and all the other things that are in there that are destroying your body.
Make you, internally make you crave it even more.
Right. So it is not your fault. But I think the next step is kind of like, okay, well, what are the safe foods and what are the foods that I can stay away from? Because if you focus more on the safe foods and opposed to like, oh, I got to pick up something and read the label. Like, I would never want to read labels. Like, that would be crazy for me to read labels. I try to make things easy for people, because as I've learned, people love to tap out. People love barriers. If there's one tiny little thing that they can hatch onto, oh, wait a minute, you want me to read labels? I can't do that. Or you want me to count calories? I can't do that. Or you want me to time my meals exactly? Well, I can't, because I got so-and-so here and here. Like, whatever they can hang on to, they'll hang on to it, and that will be that excuse. Okay, it didn't. Listen, I tried to count calories, but it didn't work for me. Oh, listen, I tried to do the whole, look at the back, but I just couldn't do it. It was too much, and then they're out. Right? It was too hard. I tried that. It was too hard.
My food. I can't measure my food.
Yeah. So
you don't know my lifestyle.
Well, yeah, and so with that being said, my point is trying to create something where there's like no barrier whatsoever. Right? So, like, here are the foods that you should and only eat if you want to get from -10 to 0. This is it right here. These are the foods. All of the complex carbs. There's a massive choice of complex carbs, massive choice of proteins, massive choice of vegetables and fruits, massive choice of healthy fats. That's all you need to focus on. And if you just at least start focusing on those foods and eliminating everything else, because in the end, if you're trying to get from -10 to 0, but you're still doing the behaviors that got you to -10, like having breaded chicken or having a pizza or having this and that, even after workouts, what you're telling your body, like you said, is, yeah, but okay, you're still eating the same shit. Like you're not changing anything. Yeah, maybe you're eating a good for a little bit, but you keep going back because you keep, rewarding yourself, or you keep having this. So if I find that if I just say, okay, this is all you can eat, these are all the foods, there's 100 foods on this thing, it's gonna taste absolutely amazing.
That'll help people out, because they just have those foods and only those foods.
Yeah, and only those foods, right? Okay, let's talk about what are some of the things we can do to help lose the belly fat, right? So you kind of started with some nutrition, but what are like maybe 5 things guys should do starting today if they want? Like they're like, okay, Dimitri, I'm in, buddy. I'm in. I get it. I gotta take ownership. I gotta figure out my somatotype. So maybe I'm gonna give you a call and you can help me with that. I'm committed to moving a little bit more. I'm committed to learning. What are the 5 things I need to do today to start this process from getting to -20 to 0, and even from 0 to 10?
I would say the first thing they have to do, and I know this may sound cliche, but you need a why. If you don't have a powerful why or a goal, you will go hardcore for a month, follow everything, and then when you're in that statement of weakness, hey, that's when the food comes in, the porn comes in, something comes in, right? So we need to have a strong why, and we need to write down the goal. If it's visual and you can see it, now you can also use that to say, I'm not strong enough. I told Funk on the call that, maybe I'll join his program next month. I wrote down my why statement here, but now I don't know what to do. But if you involve people now into the why, your spouse, your family, your kids, your coach. Hey man, Funk, I just want to let you know, it was nice talking to you. I'm on a mission to lose 20 pounds this summer. Is it okay if you check in with me, or is it okay if I let you know how I'm doing in the next few weeks? Now you're creating accountability, because even when you're weak, if there's something you have in mind to do, you'll keep doing it because of that vision process. So we need to start with the mind first before the body and the food, because this controls us.
Yeah.
You've seen success stories in the world where people don't eat for days. They've created, companies of scale. They've lost limbs in a war and come back and still made it. So the mind needs to be there. We need a why. It needs to be visual. We need to get accountability. So when I fall weak, my wife can say, hey, how's that goal you have going on to lose weight?
Yeah.
Next, we need sustainability and movement. Now, before we jump into, you got to do weight training, you got to do functional training, let's just get the guy moving every day, consistently walking. And I know 10K steps may sound crazy as the bare minimum, but you know what? Science has proved it. In Europe and in countries where they're always walking and moving, they're way more healthier.
Right.
My family in Greece does eat high carb. They eat bread with every meal. They eat potatoes and rice every meal. They're not all obese, right?
Yeah,
because
but their food
it's
is
night
much
and day.
cleaner, man.
In the backyard.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Sorry, I had to put that in there. Big up to the Italians. Big up to the Europeans. They know how to keep their food fresh and nutrient dense.
Anyways, and they make it from scratch, right? They make tomato sauce with tomatoes, onions.
It's like it's like when I used to play beach volleyball. When I played on the pro tour, on the international tour, I remember when Pimploni, I can't remember the other player's name. They're from Italy, right? They came in, and so we were kind of taking them around, right, and housing them and training with them. They're the Italian team, and so we went to pick them up. They actually stayed in, not in Vaughan, in what's the Italian neighborhood here in
Woodbridge, bro.
Yeah, so they stayed in Woodbridge. They stayed with somebody in Woodbridge. I don't know how that worked out. We went to pick them up. We're driving down, and literally they're like, dude, I can't understand a word the Italians here are speaking. I'm like, what? It's like, it's totally different. I can't even, they're saying this in their beautiful Italian accent, but they're just like, I can't, it's like night and day. It's like two different things. I'm like, are you serious? Like, yeah, I can pick up some things, but the slang and the different, type of Italian. And I feel like the food, like the Italian food here in North America versus the Italian food in Italy is night and day.
Here you got mega processing, man. Mega processing. Yeah. But
okay, sorry, keep going.
Go back to your 5 points. I actually came up with 5 things that start with the M. Ready? 1, you have your mindset. 2, we have movement. We got to start moving, and I don't mean by weight training. I mean walking, cycling on a regular basis. If you can, first thing in the morning, get that metabolism firing. Teach the brain, hey, lungs, oxygen, let's get going. We need energy. He don't have energy. Guess what? He's got fat in his tummy. Let's take that fat for energy.
Yeah. By the way,
yes.
You don't have to work out in the morning. So we're not letting you go. If you say, I can't work out in the morning, I can't move in the morning.
Got you.
Okay,
but if people have the ability to even go for a 5-minute walk to clean their mind out, there's something beautiful about moving.
Totally.
And action beats anxiety. Craig Ballantyne, one of my good friends, mentioned that where if you're stressed out right now, and I have stressed out moments, I'll get up and I'll get out of my office and I'll leave the club and let's go for a walk and come back and then I'm good again. Right. Because your body's moving. So action's going to beat anxiety. We got mind, we got movement in terms of some form of walking. Now we got muscle. Now we got to start weight training, strength training. Right. And even if it's small workouts, like you specialize in amazing 25, 30-minute HIIT workouts, metabolic workouts, you need to have training. You got to build muscle. You cannot be doing cardio for half an hour, 45 minutes of Peloton. I see these guys driving down Dufferin with these tight suits and little bellies, and they got all these little water bottles and package of food on them. And what's in those package of food? Sugar. These got these little bars full of sugar, and they go from here downtown Toronto, 6 hours, then they come out, they drink beer, they eat at the restaurant downtown, then they come back up north. That's not the workouts we need. We need muscular workouts, functional training. Then the next M is going to be measure. We need to bloody measure.
Measure
right?
What?
Mind, movement, muscle, measure. If you're not measuring yourself, and there's different forms of measurement, you will never get results. Now, I don't mean hop on the scale, body fat percentage. I mean many different things. Measure your waistline. If it dropped by a quarter of an inch, you can celebrate.
Right.
Go try some push-ups in the morning. See how many you can do. You do 5 today. Next month you got 7. I'm up in 2.
Right.
Do a plank. Right. See how long it takes you to walk from here towards your street, around a circle and back. A month from now, you speed walk that. So you got to measure your body. And the last one is milestones. You need to celebrate every little thing you're doing. You need to tell people, you know what? I just started quit smoking. How many days? 3 days. Even though it's 3 days, I'll be like, oh, you ain't going to last. You got to celebrate the milestones. And the problem is people want to lose 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, and they just grind, nose to the floor. And you even told me this before about me and what I want to do with my program is you got to stop. Hey, you know what, Dimitri? Good for you. I'm going to enjoy this day. I'm going to enjoy this 6th week of me training Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, following Funk's workouts. If you don't have a milestone to celebrate, all you're going to do is grind. And then guess what happens? Just like Olympic athletes, just like CEOs and billionaires, you make your million and you're not happy. You win the gold medal, you're not happy. So you lose 30 pounds, you're like, damn it, you know what? I'm not really happy. I want more. And then you start either self-sabotaging yourself or you're like, you know what? I got here, whatever. You don't hold on to it. So sustainability is key. Me and you, I guarantee you, have been the same weight roughly for the last 2-3 decades. We've looked the same, maybe in terms of maybe a little bit leaner for a photo shoot, but we've been training for 20, 30 years. We eat roughly the same foods on a regular basis. We train roughly the same way. We change it up, metabolic, HIIT, bodybuilding, Muay Thai, but it's sustainable. And we've been doing it for years. So when I meet people, they're like, yo, you look the same as you did in high school, bro, just a little bit more grays. And I'm like, because I found the hack for me. And the hack is going to be 1, mindset, gratitude, pray, have a bloody goal. Then you have, and the walking has helped me out a lot. What helped me out a lot is when we spoke last time about testosterone, and I said, what are ways to naturally, improve your testosterone? You said, well, before you try to improve it, fix the cortisol, fix the stress. And you said gratitude, breath work, journaling. And people forget about these things. They think it's like yin yang. But if you know you have a sugar problem and you know you eat too much glucose and you know you don't work out, write down on a big ass piece of paper, I do not like my lifestyle. I will change it for these reasons. My kids, my wife, my staff. Take that thing, stick it on the wall, tape it up, so when your ass wakes up in the morning, you see that.
That's awesome.
And now we go back to the mindset, because mind controls everything.
Love it. Well, that's a mic drop moment right there, my brother. That was awesome. I love it. So you got to take accountability.
I'm see if you read it. Your mind.
He has. So right now, if you're listening, he has this plaque that says your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. And that's a tough thing for a lot of guys. The emotional intelligence and moving more with your feelings, but we'll change that.
But that's when you got to hire a coach.
Yeah,
we got to be realistic. Like when our teeth gets mashed up, what do? You don't go, oh, I'm going to try to fix it by myself. You go to dentist.
Right. Exactly.
So
yeah.
We got to get rid of that mindset of men trying to fix it on their own.
Yeah.
I can't change a tire, but I can fix the body. So I called the mechanic to fix my tire.
CAA, baby. Call CAA. That's what I do. I called CAA about a month ago to fix my tire. I'm like, man, I don't got time for that. CAA.
I have no shame
no, of course not.
Being able to change light bulbs and stuff.
Who cares? It's all about you stay in your zone. You add some things as you go along. I'm just about to start learning how to play the guitar. I'm struggling with the very first E because my fingers don't get to where it's supposed to be. But it's something new. It's a new challenge, right? And I think what you said there is in more words than one. You said it's got to be a lifestyle, right? The reason why we both are, a lot of people think the reason why I stay healthy is because of my business, but as nothing to do with my business. Yeah, but that's the barrier. Remember, I told you there's barriers people use. There's little things that people use to give themselves the excuse. Well, you have to stay like that because it's your business. I go, actually, I don't have to stay like this at all. I have a membership. I can be 100,000 pounds out of shape and still get people coming into my program because it's about the program. It's not about me. But the
Right.
point I'm trying to make is it is a lifestyle, right? I want to be around when I'm 100. I want to be around when I'm 120. I want to see my great grandchildren. Actually, I want to be where my parents are, where they're in a situation that if my son has a child, they're going to be around to see their great grandchildren. They're going to be able to walk around, run around. That's where I want to be. So in order for me to get to where I want to be, I have to, like you said, live that lifestyle, right? Like I just have to, like, it's just, to me right now, it's like when people are like, oh, well, I saw you work out, or what about your, what do you eat? I'm like, I don't know. I just eat like three meals a day, carbs, proteins, vegetables, fruits, and healthy fats every meal. Like I've been doing that for years. I don't know any different. Like I don't know any different because that's my lifestyle and I love it. It's just the way I eat, the way I dress, the way I work out. Just, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, I just eat the foods right here, man. I just don't eat that shit, but I eat this. That's
But
it.
glucose, like you said, is right. And the topic is on glucose here. We have a glucose epidemic,
Yeah, definitely.
and it's readily available, too easy.
Yeah.
And we are not becoming more fit and active humans as we get older.
Yeah.
With so much technology, we can just sit at home. We can create businesses with ChatGPT and internet and Zoom, and we don't even have to do anything. You literally can sit in a chair and create a whole company.
Right.
So we need to remember that the old school will always dominate, and the people who are active, the people who pay attention, they pay for knowledge, they will pay more attention.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
my coach Vince taught me that, where, you know what, you're paying to pay attention. And it
Awesome.
always sits in my mind. That's the key thing.
I love it. So, where can people find you, Dimitri?
Social media, if they want to hop on to YouTube, Dimitri Giankoulas, or an Instagram handle, Coach_Dimitri, Facebook. I'm an old G. I'm kind of spaced out everywhere. The club that we have here is Pure Motivation Fitness. It's in Vaughan. It's a beautiful boutique fitness studio. We've been in action for 19 years. And if you're looking for help online, just go to Coach Dimitri and I'll help them out.
Okay, I love it, man. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. This has been amazing. I love it. I love our little back and forth. I love the way your mentality of helping men. I love it. It's just like no nonsense, and that's a lot of the times that's what we need. No nonsense
Need that.
talk. We need the hard talk. We need the no nonsense talk, and we need to just step up our game, get some help. And I appreciate you being on the podcast, brother. Talk
Got
soon.
it. Thanks for having me, bro.
No problem.